Hey guys, how's it going? It's EXTNESIONS here. Welcome to episode number 20 of this NHL 22 Draft Goalie franchise mode with the Newfoundland Growlers here on my channel. If you guys have missed episodes up to this point, head up into that top corner. And if you do enjoy this one, make sure to show your support by dropping a like, subscribing, hitting notifications, and of course, leaving comments to interact with me. But today we get into the 2034 NHL Entry Draft. It's going to be an interesting one. We don't have a lot of really highly scouted players in this draft. Obviously, top-end guys like Seidenberg, we're not going to have a shot at because we are picking around the 26 to 28 range, I believe. So a guy like Hugo Gaudin would actually make a lot of sense for us to take in this draft. Apart from that, there are some really good-looking low elite kind of players in the early second round, and I don't know if we're actually going to be able to land them or not. So we'll see how it goes. It'll be a bit of an interesting draft this year, but hopefully we can land some decent players and, build towards the future. Obviously, we are focusing on defensemen here still, as those are kind of the pieces that this team hasn't really developed properly yet, but we'll see how it goes here as we get into this. All right, and looking at the lottery this year, we're going to see the Tampa Bay Lightning move from pick 7 to 1 to win the lottery. The Avalanche, Penguins, Flames, and Kraken will all be picking in the top 5 as well. But that's a bit of an upset on the lottery there this year, so that's interesting. All right, so for the most part, I think we have our picks kind of lined up for this draft. They're not perfect, but they're looking all right. So this is kind of what we're looking at here. I don't think we're going to be able to land every single one of these players, but at the same time, we should be able to get most of them. So there's definitely some interesting guys in here. A couple really later round kind of players like Gabriel Hill, who I think could turn out to be fantastic players still. Guys like Ernesto Bowie look like really good defenders. And apart from that, Vigier we might end up taking, but we might not as well. It just really depends on how the picks kind of land here and how the rest of the draft's going. Obviously, we are trying to land as many good defensemen as possible, but let's get to this here, advance one more day, see how the retirees look, and go from there. So, starting things off, Gaudreau, Getzel, Bjorkstrand, Roslovic, Puljujärvi, that's a really high-end kind of top of the retiree class. Not crazy talented, but decent still. Pius Sutter, one of the guys that actually played on Newfoundland here. Oh, yeah, he did for 1 year, put up 33 points. He wasn't terrible for us, but he wasn't, overly spectacular either. Apart from that, pretty decent looking group of goalies as well. Lots of guys with over 300 wins, and you have to like that. All right, so looking at retiring coaches this year, and it doesn't look like we lose any unless I missed it, and I don't think we did. All right, so we lose Barbara Carcillo as a central scout, and I don't know if I necessarily need to do interviews this year. I do kind of like how this draft class is looking. It should be a good one still. Not going to be overly spectacular, but we have some good pieces in here. So apart from that, looking at our contract situation, and we do have 3 really big names coming up here that are going to be tough to deal with. I know we can manage it, but it's more just a matter of who is getting contracts where, when, how, what the price is going to be, things like that. So yeah, this is going to be it's going to be an interesting one. We unfortunately might have to let a guy like Jyrki Pitkanen go. I don't want to have to do that, but at the same time, Geekie and Fantilli are just playing better, and that might be the way we go with, physicality and trying to keep these bigger players around. I think that would make the most sense, and yeah, these are going to be expensive contracts for sure, but at the same time, we got like Vorobyov's on a $6 million deal coming up for the next year, which is great. Krstanovich is cheap too, so we're saving money there. And apart from that, Steve Zackerlin, guys like that, they're not going to be overly expensive in comparison to other players in the system here. And of course, we do have youngsters coming up that could very easily replace a guy like Jyrki Pitkanen. I'm looking especially at a guy like Sawyer Clem, who passes the puck so ridiculously well. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at with this team. I don't I'm not really worried about having to bring youngsters up. It's more just a matter of the fact that we are very likely going to lose some depth pieces here, and we can't do anything about it. So that's what we're looking at. And again, these extension prices are just ridiculous on most of these guys. It's prices that we simply cannot afford, and we're going to have to make do. So $9 million for Delmore is a little bit too much. We can't really pay him that. And then looking at, like Fantilli, looking at a rule of 85 again here, I got to just double check it for how much it's going to cost us for a guy like Fantilli. So at 11.375 million, or sorry, 325 million, he's going to be a $9.6 million contract roughly. 9.625 is about as close as we're going to get. That signs him till he's 36, so he's definitely going to be old by then. 37 for Geekie as well. These contracts are very likely going to hurt us in the long term, but we still have to sign them. And a $9.15 million contract for Geekie is going to be expensive too, but he's really only on an 8.5, which isn't that bad. And if we can get Fantilli for that price, then I'm actually going to be pretty happy with it. So, all right, those are the two extensions we're going to do for now. Pitkanen, I do think is very likely going to walk, despite being a great skater, good player, all those things. We have to clear up these roster spaces. So yeah, that's what we're looking at. That's where the team's at. And after the extensions from the last episode, I think we're doing all right. So looking at the trade block, Winther could be traded. Apart from that, most of these guys I just want to hang on to, let them develop. And yeah, look at the quality we have here. This is very high quality skaters here, and guys like Clem and Svedberg and so on. Svedberg is going to get a year in the OHL or the AHL coming up here. And then apart from that, Draper could potentially play up this upcoming year. Agostino's another name that we should be paying attention to as well. Same with, Greg Knubel. There are lots of players in here that should be doing better than they are. So, yeah, that's the team. That's where we're at. And let's jump into this draft now. So, with the draft underway, the first 5 picks should go to the same respective teams: Tampa, Colorado, Pittsburgh, Calgary, and of course Seattle. I don't see these teams missing on picks, and they do not, so that's very well done by them. But Tampa Bay especially gets a crazy good sniper in Tommy Pessin in there off of a pretty lucky lottery. All right, so simulating over to our pick here at pick 25, and Herbert's a decent player. Actually decent potentials on a lot of these guys. Kalum looks like a really good defender there for Arizona. Matt Tkachuk, Eminger, and Seidenberg. I forgot about him. Seidenberg looks really good too. But yeah, really solid draft here overall. Brodeur was a good player. Mikhanov is a bit of a bust for pick number 6. But yeah, this draft is definitely spread out a little bit. There's not too many crazy guys in here, but I think we have to go with the NHL ready Hugo Gaudette just to bring in a defenseman who, is top kind of caliber. And I think that is going to be our first pick here. So again, we are trying to stick with defense, develop defense, and okay, 79 rated defenseman with elite edges, spinorama. He's going to be interesting because he's big. His physicality is not great for being 6'2", but everything else is up there. So keep an eye on Hugo Gaudette. He could develop, and then we're at pick 28, and I'm torn here because our next pick after 28 doesn't fall until late in the second round, and unfortunately that means we won't be able to get a guy like Ernesto Bowie, but at the same time, we do miss out on other very good players like Maxime Vigier, not Giguère. Maxime Vigier. Interesting name. And then, yeah, we won't even get a shot at Patrick Duras or any guys like that. So, just looking at our team's defense, it probably would be a smarter decision to go with a guy like Vigier, and I think that's what we're going to do, but, I'm probably going to regret not taking the defenseman because, any defenseman we don't take that has any potential always seems to turn out to be good. And yes, they're saying Bowie's going to be a gem. Yeah, we're picking way off the board here, but I'm going to go with Vigier. I think that's the better pick, and yeah, we'll go with that. So, Vigier will be our selection, and he's a 63 rated playmaker. He also has Spinorama, but he is just absolutely loaded on X factors. But interesting build as far as his defense is really good, his skating's okay, his physicality is good, and then his sense of shooting and puck skills are just... oh, they're just all over the place. Okay, so that's not overly spectacular. And over to pick 61, let's take a look back. And Duras was better, in my opinion, for a 63 rated player. He'll be a good sniper for who drafted him. Yeah, New Jersey. He'll be a good sniper for them. Malik was decent too. Vaclav Malik, interesting name. And there's Ernesto Bowie. Oh, he's got shut down. Oh, Bowie probably would have been a better pick. I'm likely going to regret that. Okay. So that one kind of sucks. Lucas Bruce is a very good player there too. Same with Pedersen. Andy Pedersen's a very nice player. Oh my goodness. And same with Louis Vara. Oh my goodness. Talk about some really good second round playmakers. To be fair, we do need the centers more than anything, but we'll take it, take it with a grain of salt. That's how the first 2 rounds of the draft really go here. We're going to take Maxime Joffrian. I believe that's how you say his name, Maxime Joffrian. Again, we've drafted good goalies in the past, but we can get offer sheets for them. And he's a medium elite. Okay, so not bad. Butterfly there, 59 rated goalie. Not great, but really not terrible. Oh, Junior Ho. Oh my goodness, he is a great player there. High elite goalie, 61 rated. I think Columbus has found their starter for the future. My goodness, that is quite the pick there by the Blue Jackets. All right. So yeah, we miss out on Junior Ho. I was looking at him, but we didn't go with him. We've stuck with 3 French-Canadian talents, which I'm okay with, in Gaudette, Vigier, and Geoffrian. All good players that will kind of, filter into the Growlers team eventually. But next up with our 4th rounder, I think we're going way off the board here. And I want to just take a guaranteed player here. So we're going to go with Tiny Reeves out of everybody playing for Red Deer. I'd rather just have the low elite and hope that he develops. And he's 54 rated, so not a particularly bad pick at pick number 94, but we definitely could have picked higher rated talent anyways. Maybe not better potential, but looking at it, very likely not better potential. This is a weak draft this year. Not a lot of great players in it at all, apart from the top end, really. So, yeah, we'll stick with Tiny Reeves for that pick. That's actually pretty decent. Lashov's 20. So, yeah, I'd rather take Reeves and just go with that one. All right, so, yeah, a lot of our picks are going to be made off the board here in this draft, but that's okay. I'm going to try to stick mainly with my pinned players because I just think they're going to be better. We are going to take another goalie here, but I'm really hoping that he has X factors like it's saying. And we'll take Blake Seabrook from Spokane, and he is elite, nice, 59 rated. So yeah, again, another goalie that we can potentially use in the future. But yeah, that's actually a pretty good pick here. Again, not a lot of potential. Sugihara was all right, but again, he's 20. So yeah, that is the team that we're looking at so far. Seabrook's actually a really good pick at 127. So for pick number 160 now, I think I'm going off the board here. Reason being, I still want to take Wilford, and we're going to be at pick 190-ish, I think, right around there after this. It might be 194 or 193. But apart from that, I think I want to go... Who do we go with? We go Wilford and then Hill. I think we go Hill first, just because he put up 40 points. He's playing close here for Charlottetown, and I actually like his player build and his just sheer statistical growth. So yeah, leadership ability, puck protection, physical play, that's what we like. So let's take Gabriel Hill, see how good he turns out to be. And he's 59 rated as well. The 19-year-olds are panning out this draft. My goodness. that's a really good pick. Again, Gabriel Hill for pick 160. He could be a legitimate player for this team in the future. So at pick 193, I think we're going to go with that other goalie here. Wilford, I believe his name is. And yikes, that is a terrible 6th round so far. So yeah, we have hit a boatload of picks in this draft, and hopefully we're just going to keep hitting them here. But I'm going to go with Joshua Wilford, 8 out of 14. He is a little small for a goalie, but that's okay. And he's also elite, 47 rated. Okay, nice. But at the same time, yes, we've drafted a lot of elites, but it's really an up in the air. It's kind of a crapshoot here for how these guys are actually going to develop. I mean, I'm not upset with how this draft has gone, but it's been a weak draft, to be completely honest. So at pick number 226, Quirk is a decent goalie. Apart from that, not really too much going on here in round 7 either. Like I said, this has been a weak draft, one of the weakest I've seen in a long time. So I think I want to go with Repik. I know he's ranked around pick number 400, but he's also the only guy that's still rolling on 2-bar elite. So I think Patrick Repik is going to be the pick here. All right, so we'll take Repik with pick number 226, and he's a low 7th, so the last round doesn't pan out, but you know, that's kind of what you expect in the last round or two of the draft. So the fact that we got Wilford in the 6th round could turn out to be a huge steal, but yeah, overall, you know, a good draft for us, but at the same time, a bit of a weak draft as well. Like, I've seen much better drafts in the past. So yeah, let's sim these last couple picks, see if anybody decent gets drafted. I highly doubt it, but yeah, it was a weak one this year. So there you have it. Gaudette, Vigier, Joffrion, all homegrown picks. Same with Gabriel Hill. I forgot his name there for a second. And yeah, that should be an interesting class coming up. All right, so advancing a day here, and looks like Rainier Schroeder is going to want an extension here. How are we affording all of these coaches? I don't understand that. But sure, let's do this. Just for now, just to keep Schroeder. But yeah, Bernard Vigier is actually a really good coach too. So we have been doing really well with a guy like Brendan Lowe, but we'll see how the next season or so goes. Obviously, this wasn't our most spectacular season, but we're going to have to go out and get some new scouts here too, because we are starting to run a little bit lower than I like on retiring scouts, but that's our situation. So Burrish, McCollum, a couple guys hitting RFAs there. And all right, Fantilli rejects, but Geekie signs. All right, this is going to be a pain in the butt to sign these guys. So Fantilli now wants $13 million for the next 8 years. We cannot afford that. Delmore doesn't want a contract either. Oh boy. Okay, so literally just Delmore and yeah, literally just Delmore and Fantilli are going to cost us the majority of our cap space here. So what we're going to do is we're going to release a couple guys here, like Felipe Steves, like probably Ola Ackerland, because I need to sign Smits. I need to sign quite a few players here. So let's start off with like our worst expiring players down in the system here. First things first, I think Hansen. Well, Hansen's not getting signed. We have to sign a lot of players. So let's see. How many guys do I want to sign? We want Doherty. We want Svedberg. So that's 2. We want O'Neill's 3. Smith's is 4. Ladd's 5. And then Sawyer Clem is 6, even though he's kind of on this in-between area. Okay, so we have to release up to 6 players. That's a lot. So starting off, Zaikov's still 23. He's been scoring a ton in the minors, so we're going to hold off on releasing him, but Asher Burish at 25 is done. I don't see us holding on to him any longer, so we will release him. So that's one. Frederick Lack at 24, same kind of deal. He's just hasn't played a lot. Hasn't played for a couple seasons now, so that's... Oh, no, I want to release him. Okay, let me offer him a contract. We'll come and buy him out in a minute. Stepan at 26, same deal. 7th rounder that never really turned out. Hasn't played in 2 years either. We will release him. Apart from that, McDonough is worth holding on to, I think. He could be a substitute piece here in the near future. And then apart from that, you know, Eugene Edwards is a good defenseman, but just never panned out the way we expected him to either. Yeah, he had 7 points throughout an 82-game career so far. So, with other defensemen coming up the system like O'Neill, who are just 20, I think we buy out... Well, Verdino actually put up a ridiculous amount of points this year, so... Let's go... What about Rodin? Yeah, let's buy out Thomas Rodin. He's done. He was good for us, but again, just doesn't quite make sense to hold on to him when guys like Svedberg and other players that are going to be better are coming into the team. So that's 2. We'll go with O'Neill as well just for now. Of course, we need to sign Smits and Ladd. So I think we are going to release a guy like Steves. So Felipe Steves is out. I believe Ola Ackerland's going to be out here too. We'll release him. So then we get Ladd. We get Smits. And now we pay out the big bucks. I mean, we could keep Winter too. That is the other option. But I think what we're going to do instead is we're going to go with... Did McCollum even play? I don't think he did. Oh no, he did. Not this year, but last year. Okay, so we'll sign McCollum. Easy signing. We'll sign Mason Nueve. Another easy signing at that age. And then we'll qualify Vic Winter, who was actually ridiculous for Halifax here. He's been all over the place. But, yeah, we'll just qualify him. Hopefully everything goes well there. Apart from that, how much does he want? I'm going to try 8.5 for 4 years for a guy like Delmore. That's expensive, I know, but we kind of have to do that. McDonough's getting re-signed. Verdino should get re-signed, but maybe not for 1.2 million. We'll see what happens there. We'll just hold off on that for a minute. And then, of course, Pitkanen and Fantilli, we can't sign both of them. I'm going to offer Fantilli 12 million for the next 8 years. That's insane. Okay, 12 million for the next 8 is just ridiculous. And yeah, we can't go for Pitkanen, unfortunately. So, as much as this sucks, because we're going to have to release him, yeah, his performances and management likability has been fantastic throughout the years, but I think we do need to let him go. So we'll release Pitkanen. He's just, again, he's tiny. So we don't get Schroeder with budget reasons. All right. We do get McCollum, Ladd, Doherty, Svedberg, Delmore, O'Neill. We did get Delmore. Perfect. Fantilli doesn't want to sign. We get Smets. We don't get Mason Nueve. Okay, so how much money are we looking at here? We've got 14 million. 13.5 for Fantilli is really expensive. Even 12.5 is really expensive. That's like a McDavid level contract. This is just insane. All right. 13 mil for 1 year, Fantilli. You think you're worth that much? I want to see a 150-point season out of you. Like, that's... Oh my god. Okay. 13.25, Adam. Let's go. All right, Jesus, we get him for 8 years for $13.25 million. We might have just screwed ourselves there because he's going to be playing till he's 37 now. Oh, we're going to hold him to that $13 million like nobody else because that is just insanity. So, I think we might lose Mason Nueve, which isn't the worst thing ever because you look at our goaltending situation here and it's still strong. Like, it's very strong. Fairchild's coming up. We've got Legace. Actually, why don't we just go like this? Buy out Legace. Not a big deal there. We'll sign Mason Nueve. Looking at the rest of the defense, we'll sign Edwards. He's cheap. We'll sign... I want to sign Gaudette because I think he can get even better. 52 points is good, but it's not fantastic. But for a 25th overall pick, he should be able to perform. Bure and Knuble are also looking really good. I'm actually quite happy with how those guys look. But it's just a bit of an awkward spot to be. So, apart from that, on the right wing, we definitely want to sign Sawyer Clem. Get our right wing filled out really well here. On the left side, we know the left side's strong. We'll sign Verdino as well. He's going to be like $1 million. Reeves and Sotheby, keep an eye on them. We'll see if they grow. We'll see if they don't. I can't believe Fantilli is worth so much money. Like, that's just insanity. But there's literally nothing we can do about it. We just have to play it as it is. And that's the team. Like, the fact that Vorobyov is the best player on this team, in my opinion, is winning 40-plus games a year pretty much. Like, he's only had a handful of seasons here where he wasn't at or right around 40 wins a season is laughable. So, yeah, that's the team. I think that's as far as we're going to go here. We get Sawyer Clem, Verdino, Gaudette, Edwards, Mason Nueve. All right, so we get lots of players there. I'm really hoping that with a goalie like Vic Winter, somebody else is going to want to sign him and that we could actually get compensation for him. So, yeah, all right, so let's go to free agency, see how things shape up here. We're not going to get Schroeder, which is okay. You know, obviously, Pitkanen, we're rolling with there. He won 4 Stanley Cups with the Growlers. He was our winningest coach, without a doubt. But yeah, we'll see if, what's his name, our other coach here, Brendan Lowe, can get things going. And I think Winter is the only guy that should even really be on our trade block. Apart from that, I like where the team's at. So let's advance here, see how things go in free agency, see if there's any crazy free agents to even sign. And then we'll go from there. So we are running on a full roster, but somehow a guy like Downey is a franchise player. Asking for only $10 million, that's insane. How is he not worth or getting paid more? I don't know. Don't ask me. But yeah, not a lot really in free agency this year. Lots of our released players. Apart from that, you know, Vic Winter, I'm sure teams are going to come knocking on our door for him. He's a very decent goalie. So yeah, that's where we're at. I like where the team's at. We don't really need to go for restricted free agents or anything like that. A guy like Jalen Reese, hey, is not... Didn't he just win like a ton of games? Yeah, 29 is pretty impressive. 36 for Halpern. Yeah, Russ Halpern is a really good goalie too. I'm surprised more guys or more teams aren't going for him. But yeah, all right. Let's advance to the next season, see how the team shapes up, and then go from there. All right, I think we are going to end up letting Vic Winter go. We can't really do anything about it. We don't need him in the team. Like, yes, sure, a third-string goalie would be nice, but I really don't think Kristanovich or Vorobyov is going to have massive injuries. They haven't had a history of injuries, so we just got Aaron Ekblad offer for, like, Tommy Zinger. Seriously? Wow. Strange things going on these days, for sure. All right, so guys, first things first, let's go take a look at how the team shaped up as far as team overalls and player ratings go this year. So first things first, we don't have any new like 90 overall kind of guys that, you know, really need X factors like that. We do have quite a few guys here that actually need boosts on their current X factors. Guys like Harry Zimmerman, guys like Ethan Tangradi. Actually, I'm not sure if Tangradi actually gets one yet. All right, so Harry Zimmerman needs a new X factor. I think, looking at his stats, I think it's probably going to be puck on a string. I mean, his passing's phenomenal, so puck on a string would make sense based on his deking and everything else like that. So let's give him that. Apart from Zimmerman, I'm trying to think of who else. Like, there are actually quite a few guys now in our AHL team that will get X factors, which is crazy because that's just how deep this system is at this point. But Sawyer Clem needs a couple. I think first things first, he has to have tape to tape with the 99 pass in there. His puck control, deking, hand-eye are all insane as well. So I'm thinking ankle breaker, but he also has like a crazy shooting category, which you can see right up here. It's like, yeah, it's so much better than most of his other stats and categories, but I think for now he's going to get tape to tape and ankle breaker. Oh my goodness, what is that? We got to change the stick too. That's just not happening. So yeah, his equipment is definitely all over the place too. I think I'm going to go with a mix here. So we're going to go with Warrior gloves. And then a CCM stick. I really like the Trigger 6, and all right. All right, so Sawyer Clem gets 2 X factors there, ankle breaker and tape to tape, which again, both make sense. Gordy Draper is a sniper, but his senses are crazy. His skating's really solid too. So I think I want to give him wheels as well as magnetic. I think maybe wheels and make it snappy. That would just probably make a little bit more sense. He wears number 59. He was wearing number 55 on our AHL team, so we'll give him 59 here for sure. The other thing is that he is a sniper. I would prefer if he's a sniper that he's kind of got like a more of a sniper-esque kind of tape job. That like actually looks like a sniping kind of player to me there, so that's what we'll do for Draper. Apart from that, you know, I really do like how this team is shaped up, how they're looking. Apart from that, Noah Ladd doesn't get an X factor yet. He's right on the edge, but looking at the AHL, you know, a guy like Smith should have one. He's actually the only player that should have one here. And being a two-way kind of player, I think probably stick him up for Brendan Smiths would make the most sense. So yeah, this is Brendan Smiths. He should be a really good player too in the near future, and we'll see how he develops. But I think we are actually going to bring Brendan Smiths up to the team, and then I think we're going to do something a little more along the lines of sending a guy like Noah Ladd down for a year for development. And there's one other roster move I want to make as far as... Okay, so Smiths is up. We're going to bring a goalie and McCollum up. And then I think I want... Are we at 50 out of 50 roster space-wise? I want Hugo Gaudet. But at the same time, maybe we bring a guy like Gaspard Ouellet instead. That might be a better move, just because then we could potentially get more chemistry, and then we'll send a guy like Tursunbayev down. And we cannot... Oh, no. I'm like, why isn't this working? This should work. It's because Noah Ladd needs to go down. Okay, so that's the moves we're going to make. Lots of roster moves, but I think that's where I want this team sitting. right, so we'll get Noah Ladd in there. He gives it a +1, so not particularly bad, but not overly spectacular either. So yeah, that'll be an interesting team down here in the minors this year. Definitely one of the stranger teams we've kind of fielded over the past few seasons, but at the same time, I do like where these guys are at. And yeah, that's our AHL team this year. And this is our NHL team this year. It's going to be a really solid team again. We're going to start Beau Gibbons on the second line just based on where he's kind of at overall and role-wise. We've got a lot of third-line scoring option kind of players and guys like Clem and Tangradi and even, Petrov, Zimmerman. Like, there are a lot of scorers in this lineup, so we'll see how they do this year. The defense, for some reason, isn't getting chemistry. I don't know why entirely, but, we have drafted guys to this exact system fit. And, I'm sure if we built around it a little better, we could get better chemistry. But overall, that's where the team's at, and that's what we're going with for this upcoming year. So yeah, this is the exact team we're going with. Not really too much is going to change here. As long as I'm like 90% sure Gordy Draper's not playing in any of these systems, I think what we're actually going to do, Draper needs the time to develop, so he's 24, and I'm just wondering, is a guy like Smith's going to fit better? Because that might actually be the case here, so let's try Smith's in on the bottom line. He doesn't necessarily fit better. As good as he looks, I just don't think Smith's is a better fit than Draper there. So we'll keep Draper on the bottom line, along with Zimmerman and Petrov. That's a really solid line. Not super huge, but just, good all-around kind of playability. Our big line, we don't really have a big line. Like, all of our lines have a player that's like 5'11" or under. But I really like how the team looks, how it's shaped up. Our defense is all over 6 feet tall, which is good. Vorobyov and Kristanovich both stand at 6'2". It's a good build of a team as far as height-wise and everything goes. As far as special teams go, again, feel free to pause if you want to take a closer look at these, but that's what we're going with. It's about the best I could do for this lineup this year, and I've got nothing against it. I really like how the team looks. It's really just a matter of Adam Fantilli at $13 million and like a freaking 5th or 6th of our cap space, maybe a 7th, but he needs to put up a ridiculous season here if we're going to actually be able to hold on to him and respectfully pay that contract out. So yeah, that's what we're looking at for this upcoming team. As far as the draft goes, looks like mainly wingers for this upcoming year. The best goalie is going to be pick 41, Artem Popov. And yeah, that is what we're looking at. Well, we'll see how the team's actually looking here in a second as far as overall ratings and things like that go. But this is the draft class we're looking at this year. It's a bit of an interesting one, as Ali Paul looks like an amazing sniper. But apart from that, we'll see how the rest of it shapes up. No guarantee it's going to be a crazy draft, but it should be a decent one. I think it has to be better than last year, especially after how last year went. Last year was just such a strange and weak draft that I don't know exactly how this one's going to play out, but in my opinion, it has to be better than the one we just saw. So, yeah, Bennett Osgood looks like quite a player there. Potentially all A's and B's across the board. And then, Ashy too. My goodness, there is going to be some players in this draft this year. So, yeah, we're going to get into a quick season sim to kind of wrap up this episode, see how the team does. And I just do want to take a look at the record books. I think some of you guys were saying you wanted to see those. So, somebody said Alex Ovechkin, the goalie. It's Andrei Ovechkin for Anaheim. But looking at Newfoundland here, Fantilli's leading the team in all-time points and goals. Vorobyov is very soon going to catch Georgiev on shutouts. Penalty minutes, Jürgen Busch is leading that category all the way. Jyrki Pitkanen, 634 assists in his Growlers career. I think Catton's going to catch that in the next couple of seasons, but we'll see what happens there. As far as an actual season goes, Vorobyov has gotten 3 shutouts. Georgiev got 5. Apart from that, 100-point season for Fantilli has been the best that we've seen, which is kind of crazy. I thought these guys would be able to score a little bit better than that. As far as points for a rookie goes, Berkly Catton 70 has been the best we've seen. So who knows? Maybe a guy like Sawyer Clem could top that this year. I highly doubt it, but you never know what's going to happen with a season sim. So yeah, let's get to it. Let's see how this season goes, and then I will be back with you guys at the end of the 2034-35 regular season. Alright guys, so to end off this 2034/35 season, the Growlers go 55, 18, and 9 to win the President's Trophy this year. 119-point campaign is pretty impressive there. And the worst team in the league turns out to be the Calgary Flames out of everybody. As far as scoring goes this year, Adam Fantilli there gets 103 points. And yeah, very solid year from lots of Atlantic teams here. Like, we were actually in one of the strongest, we're supposed to be in the Metro, but yeah, the Atlantic had 4 100-plus point teams. That's pretty insane. The Red Wings and the Panthers missed the playoffs with 94 and 93 points. Looking at the entire league there, Red Wings finished 11th. Panthers finished 15th. That must be brutal. Oh, Washington and Minnesota too. Wow. Talk about a lopsided league this year. That's pretty crazy. And yeah, that's the league we're looking at. As far as our team scoring goes, 94 points for Catton, 103 for Fantilli. At least he puts up over 100 points this year. 77 for Kozhevnikov, 78 for Carpenter, and 81 for Conor Geekie. This team is still just functioning at such a high level. 68 points for Taylor Nicholson is pretty impressive, and 61 points for Sawyer Clem. That's a really good rookie campaign. Like, that is the best we have seen in a while. Vorobyov wins 44 games this year. That's crazy. And yeah, really good year from the majority of the Growlers here. So for the entire league, 113 points is the best in the league there from Joachim Kamel. Grayson McIver with him there, scores 61 goals. That's insane. Isaac Rosen put up, 106 points. That's impressive. 106 for Aaron Kiviaru as a defenseman. My goodness, this guy is just on another level. And Bedard, yeah, okay, makes sense. Lots of good players here this year. So a surprising number of 100-plus point scorers, but at the same time, it's not really that surprising because most of these guys should be right around that 100-point range. Most goals is going to be tied between McIver and Matthews. As far as assists goes, Kiviaru gets 86 assists. Plus-minus wise, Taylor Nicholson was plus 66 and Delmore was plus 63. So that defensive pairing was just shut down this year. As far as rookies go, looks like Neil Frank, who was the number 2 pick, first off topped out Pessanen and a bunch of other guys, but Sawyer Clem is going to be the best out of all of those guys, drafted 1 year before them. Yeah, that is impressive from Sawyer Clem. He should be getting a Calder this year, but like, look at the defensive scoring throughout the league here. This is insane. Like, Nicholson finishes 5th with a 68-point campaign. That's pretty staggering numbers from the defensemen this year. So yeah, that is the league. That is what we're looking at. And as we head into the playoffs with this team here for the upcoming episode, it's going to be a good one. I think we're going to be taking on probably the Philadelphia Flyers, but it might be the Tampa Bay Lightning. So let's just advance and see. I would bet on Philadelphia though. And it's actually going to be the Tampa Bay Lightning. Okay. So the Islanders get the joy of playing the Flyers as the worst seed in the East. And yeah, this should be a good one. So anyways, that is where we're going to wrap this up. We'll take on the Tampa Bay Lightning next episode. This team is in great shape, and Tampa Bay, is also in pretty darn good shape. They've got Draisaitl there still, and a bunch of other guys. Alex Zetterberg looking really good. Yeah, wow. This is a legit Tampa Bay team here. And yeah, we might actually struggle with this Tampa Bay team. They look really good. So that's what we're going up against in the next one. But that is where we're going to wrap this up. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to go down below, show your support by dropping a like, subscribing, hitting notifications, and of course, make sure to leave comments to possibly get featured. And that is going to be it for me. This is EXTNESIONS signing out, and until next time.